Welcome to the Bonus Time Monster Truck Podcast, presented by MonsterTalk, your number one source for the latest news, results, and more from the monster truck world. Meet the hosts for tonight's episode: Ewan Ford, Reagan Szymanski, Wayne Shahaki, and Jackson Morris. So strap yourselves in, because bonus time starts now.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Bonus Time Monster Truck Podcast presented by MonsterTalk. I am your host, Jackson Morris, owner of MonsterTalk. Today we have a fabulous episode. Once again, we got the whole crew on: Ewan, Wayne, and Reagan. We've got a bunch of news to cover, and I learned from last time to not ask how they're doing because we'll get a weird silence and it'll be weird. So let's jump.
I'm going
straight
first,
in.
man.
You going first?
I'm going first. What's up, everybody? We're not letting that happen again. I'm here. That's it.
Congrats. Whoa.
What's up, everybody?
What's
Yeah.
Well, we've gone through the greetings, so let's jump straight into the results. We're going to talk about Hampton, Virginia. Interestingly, no Sky Willy competition, and Quad Wars was brought back for the first time in, I don't know when. I'm sure Ewan or one of my friends, Duncan, can tell me whenever it was that Quad Wars was a thing. And I should say that Quad Wars was there solely because the Sky Willy competition was not there. I don't know why it wasn't held. That's just how Master Jam rolls. Show 1, Weston Anderson won racing in the overall. Elvis Linus won skills. Tony Oakes won freestyle. Show 2 was completely swept by Weston Anderson. Show 3, Travis Mary in Stone Crusher won racing, skills, freestyle, and the overall. Sorry, excuse me, I messed that up. Travis Mary won Stone. Wow, I'm messing this up completely. Travis Mary won Stone Crusher. Travis Mary in Stone Crusher won racing, and Weston Anderson won skills, freestyle, and the overall. My bad. Brianna Mahan for Show 4 won racing in the overall. Elvis Linus won skills, and Weston Anderson won freestyle. We have some more results here. Full Throttle Monster Trucks in Springfield, Tennessee. Predator with Alan Pizzo would win wheelies, and Roger Gouger and Bigfoot would win racing and freestyle. With the All-Star Monster Truck Tour in Phoenix, Arizona. Show 1, Vendetta won skills and freestyle. Show 2, skills was a tie between Jurassic Attack and Rockwell Red. Freestyle was won by Rockwell Red. Show 3, Jurassic Attack won skills, and freestyle was a tie between Vendetta and Jurassic Attack. Show 4, Jurassic Attack wins skills and freestyle. And Show 5, Velociraptor wins skills and freestyle. Velociraptor was crowned the 2023 Arizona State Fair champion. For Monster Truck Throwdown in Slinger, Wisconsin, Brandon Talachka and Just Get It Done 2 would sweep the entire event once again. Our second to last results here for the Outlaw Monster Truck Drags finale in Canfield, Ohio. Best trip would go to Monster Patrol with Buddy Tompkins behind the wheel. So that was the driver that was filling in for Austin Tweedy. A Bad Habit with Joe Sylvester would take both the racing and freestyle competitions in his final event ever. Still weird to say. Our final results here before I hand it over to you guys to talk about what you guys think. For the Monster Truck Fall fundraiser at Butler, Indiana, Zach Garner in Wildside won racing, Mikey Vardas II in Overkill Evolution won two-wheel skills, and freestyle there was no winner crown because it was purely just an exhibition. So, I know that some of you guys were at some of these events. Wayne, I know, as we said last time, you were in Phoenix, and Reagan, I know that you were at, I think, pretty much all of the Hampton shows. So I'll start off with one of you. Reagan, we'll start off with you. Your thoughts about the results, either all of them or the shows that you were at.
I will not lie. Hampton was pretty solid. I think, I don't know, we had like 9 straight weeks of arenas again, which we usually do in August and September. And Hampton was probably one of the most fun weekends show-wise out of them all, which I wasn't really expecting. I mean, the building isn't, the biggest arena they go to, so I wasn't really expecting them to go as hard as they did, but everyone was doing real good. Elvis Linus trying bicycles now. That's a first, so that's something that's really cool to see. And a couple new skills moves, like Tony Oakes has a new skills move that he's been trying out. Obviously, Weston's at his hometown show, so he was going off. I'm surprised he didn't get all 4 of the overalls. But it was a great weekend. and I actually would not mind returning there very soon.
Well, Wayne, we'll go over to you next. I know you're at Phoenix, and I think you catch the last show in Hampton. So again, I'll let you talk about the shows that you were at and just any of the other shows if you'd like.
Yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. Phoenix, Arizona was fun. There were 6 shows, and let me tell you, Too Tall cooked for the last day. He went off. My buddy Max Zamudio, Chuck Plumley, Michael, Phil, and everybody. It was a good hangout. Had a good time, and had the pleasure to announce the last show, show 6, with Michael. So it was pretty cool. Very solid shows. Definitely show number 2 and the last day in specific were the best. There was a lot of moonwalks the second show, unlike the rest of them. And then I was a nut and flew over to Norfolk, Virginia, when my buddy Mr. Lord and Mr. Reels told me there was a Monday show. I was like, holy cow, we can't miss this. It's history. So I flew over. Obviously I was feeling so great from like a 7-hour flight. And I got there, went to the show. I saw Stone Crusher do a backflip, and I saw Brianna Mahan overall. So no regrets at all. It was the best show of all time, arena-wise, and that's it. Period.
Period.
He
I forgot to
really
mention
just-
that too was the Monday show, which I'd never been through one of these before. There was
Yeah.
a tropical storm rolling through Virginia Beach, or at least they say it was a tropical storm because it didn't rain at all where I was staying, which was right next to the arena on Saturday. So they canceled it for nothing just because, safety, and that's how the world is now. Everyone's scared. It actually rained harder during the show on Friday and it didn't even rain at all on Saturday. So that kind of tells you everything you need to know. They still had the Friday show, but canceled the Saturday ones. So
I was going to ask about that because that was as you just said, that was the sole reason why they moved it there as well. Ewan, we'll go over to you. Thoughts, since you weren't at any of these shows, any thoughts about these events and the results that we saw?
Well, I have to say, Stone Crusher has backflipped 4 times in his career, and all of them were in Hampton. So Travis Mowry really cooking it up there. But I actually have the overall weekend points for Hampton real quick.
Oh, here we go.
We have Weston with 83, Elvis with 70, Travis with 57, Tony Oaks with 54, Brianna Mahan 45, Frank Krimmel getting 33, Nick Pagliarulo getting 33, and Mike getting 32 in last.
Right.
So, yeah, if anything, this probably shows how Central is going to go with Weston versus Elvis, with Weston winning, if there's any prediction.
So
future.
so first off, number one, are you telling me that Stone Crusher with Travis Mowry outscored Tony Oaks in
Yes.
the overall points? Wow, that's pretty surprising. But secondly, as well, we were saying that it was basically Arena Central for next year, right? Because it's got Elvis and
Elvis
Weston.
versus
I think we were
Weston.
talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to point out as well that I thought was very interesting that I know some of you guys touched on a little bit. Brianna Mahan finally, because we were saying last week that I think Reagan was saying it that Brianna was pretty good in Rosemont, but I think she was overshadowed a lot by, the new Sky Willy competition, barring Gravedigger, Tony, everyone else doing fantastic. But this week, I think she was probably, other than, Stone Crusher doing 4 backflips at every show, which I still can't get over, is that Brianna was, she seems to be back on top. So I think that's pretty exciting. And I'm interested to see, I don't know if she has any more shows that are scheduled this year currently, that have been announced, I should say. I'm sure that if she's scheduled for more, they are there, but they haven't been announced yet. We're going to move on to the news. We have a very interesting story that I find very interesting. So the International Master Jam Tour obviously returns in just under, well, no, not under a week, but over a week. The Australian Master Jam Tour I'm super excited for, and I think Wayne and Reagan are as well. But very interesting, this news. Currently, as of, before I say this, the last show for the international tour looked to be Puerto Rico. I have news for people in Argentina. That is not the case. Monster Jam will be returning to Argentina. I don't know what stadium, but they have kind of quietly announced Argentina. Blake Granger's original schedule was posted, since it's been deleted, so I don't think he's allowed to post that, but you post it, the internet sees it. Oops. So Monster Jam returns to Argentina, as I said. That will be December 8th, 9th, and 10th. It's probably going to be a stadium. I think they've always gone to stadiums for Argentina. So very interesting that they're having at least by the looks of it, a 3-day stadium event. I don't think that's like ever been a thing unless it's like a World Finals or something. Obviously, the lineup is to be announced. The only confirmed driver is Blake in Max D. And I guess related to this as well, we have the 7th driver for Puerto Rico. That is Blake Granger in Max D. So he will be in Puerto Rico. The final thing that we're waiting for the Puerto Rico lineup is who will be driving Megalodon. I'm going to assume it's Charlie Porkin. I don't know why it would be anyone different, especially since now Blake is confirmed. So I don't know, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. So I'll hand it over to you guys. We'll start off with Ewan this time. Very interesting to see Argentina very quietly announced, and not only that, but 3 epic days of action. So Ewan, what are your thoughts about this news?
Well, I don't think it was quietly announced. I think just Blake did an oopsie and
True.
just announced it himself, like, oh, it's Argentina's here now. Cool. But anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess Blake coming close to the mainland once again in Puerto Rico. Well, it basically is the mainland. It's part of the U.S. anyway. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy to see. I guess Argentina always has a good show because it's always a stadium lineup there. Fans are pretty crazy there too.
True, and from the photo, and I'll put one up on screen for those that are watching the video podcast. From previous years, it looks to be that like they've had sellout shows, so it'd be interesting to see with 3 shows. Like if they can sell out 3 shows, I mean, I think that would be like a definite like Monster Jam venue to visit on their calendar, because if they can get 3 sellout shows for 3 events in one weekend, I think that's like a world record, just saying something there. So, Wayne, we'll go over to you. Your thoughts about this news.
Who let them cook? Tell you that. Good to see a Blake in the lineup. This lineup's pretty stacked for Puerto Rico. Last year was great, but I'm really liking this one. Weston Anderson, Blake are like 2 big ones. And, you got many other great competitors. I'm looking forward to it. 4 shows. You're right, Jackson. It does sell out really well. They give pretty good pricing to the Puerto Rico fans. Up on the top, I believe, is $15 for the 300 section. With taxes and fees a little more, but really cheap. If you go down toward the front, I know it's $65 because I may or may not have put a little bit out of pocket. But yeah, pretty good. Pit passes are like $16 or $17, which is pretty good pricing. So I think they do a great job marketing the event and pricing it well. So it's going to be another great weekend. I'm looking forward to it. And it's a week right after Australia.
Dude, I need to get my ass to Puerto Rico then if the seats are that cheap. Bro,
They're
I'm
cooking.
going. I'm packing my bags. I'm going, all right, guys.
You're coming with us, Morris.
Oh, no.
Prices adjusted due to deflation.
Well, Reagan, we'll go over to you. Your thoughts about, the Argentina and the Puerto Rico lineup and all of that.
I think it's pretty cool. That's the one continent, I guess, besides Antarctica, that they haven't hit this year. And what better way to end out the year? It's slated for December, it looks like. And I wouldn't be surprised if a couple other dates around, South America get announced, soon after. So I'd say probably the next month we'll know where they're actually going to be, what stadium, what the lineups are going to be and all that. I would assume that the Marvel trucks would be there as well. Just that I've been hearing that that's like international exclusive.
Yeah.
So I think it should be very exciting. Probably the same lineup, but I mean, hey, new countries, new continents. That's what I want to see. So
Absolutely. Well, actually, I was thinking about this while you were saying it as well. I think I've kind of answered my own question, but I'll say it again. I do find it kind of weird that if we are saying that these new Marvel trucks are international exclusive, why aren't they at Puerto Rico? But I was kind of thinking, like shipping trucks, especially to Australia, they've talked about an Inside Master Jam podcast. I don't know the exact figures, so someone can correct me, but they take months to arrive here. So, if people are thinking like, oh, they ship it out like 2 or 3 weeks beforehand, no, that's not how it works. They ship it like months and months in advance. I think they were saying last year that they were recording it in July and they were shipping out the trucks like in July. So July, August, September, October, that's like 3 or 4 months. That is insane. So, with that being said, it wouldn't make sense for them to ship, unless they have extra copies of the Marvel bodies that they're willing to send there. It wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense to ship them to Australia and then try and get them in Puerto Rico. But I think you are absolutely right. I think that there's going to be more South America shows that are announced very soon, especially with October coming up, and they want to do some promotion. And there's all of pretty much like a majority of November that doesn't have anything. And last year they had a fair amount of shows. I know they had Santo Domingo. I think that was it, but I think they may have had a few others there. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that and excited to see what they do there. We'll move on to our next story, our final story, before we get into predictions and then fan questions. We have our Spokane lineup. This will be November 3rd to 5th. The lineup so far is what we've seen for most of the year. Still kind of a little bit interesting. It will feature Gravedigger with Tyler Menninger, Megalodon Ashley Sanford, Jurassic Attack Dalton Widener, Monster Matt Dalmatian Bailey Shea, Velociraptor David Alfert, to be announced drivers in El Toro Loco and Scooby Doo, and a to be announced truck with Jeff Souza. I'm going to say here, I know me and you, and we're talking about this before the podcast started. I think it's going to be, I'm just going to predict it now. I think it's going to be either Manuel or Armando Castro in El Toro Loco, and then either Lindsay Reed or Scooby Doo, depending on who's available. And then, of course, the to be announced truck is going to be Earthshaker on one of Team Throttle Monster's many chassis, because they have so many. So, we'll hand it over to you guys. Wayne, we'll start off with you this time. What are your thoughts about the Spokane lineup, and who do you think will be announced later on?
I basically have the same thoughts as you, Jackson. I think Manuel will make his way in. And I'm looking forward to it. Tyler's a really good competitor. Obviously, he cooks. And I think he's going to begin himself a few overalls. Looking forward to it. And I think your predictions are pretty correct. So I'm basically on the same lines as you.
Well, Reagan, we'll go over to you next. Your thoughts about Spokane, and who do you think will be there?
Well, I mean, not much different. It's looking like the same lineup pretty much that we've seen on all the arenas this summer. So, good action. Those tours have been great and all that. But maybe, switch it up a little bit. Maybe throw Manuel in there, or who knows? Elvis could even step in.
True.
A lot of things could happen.
Well, Ewan, we'll end off this new segment with you. Again, I know we talked about this before the podcast. Your thoughts about the lineup, and who do you think will be added?
I think it's basically the same lineup, basically Feld versus Team Throttle Monster for the little like West Coast arena tour they did for a while this year in the summer, and I think every time they do a TBA El Toro, it's been Manuel and Scooby Doo. I think, but Scooby Doo, it's gonna be Lindsay or Logan. I don't know. I'd prefer Lindsay if I was going, and it's probably be Earthshaker on. I don't know. Throw it on the TMS again. Why not?
And we were also saying this as well before the podcast started. For the to be announced truck, I'm assuming with Earthshake with Jeff Souza, it's easier to predict the identity than what truck it'll actually be on. So, fans, I guess, cast your votes for which one of the 10 million Team Throttle chassis that they have that this will be on. All right, we have our predictions. We only have 3 shows here. I figured that we talk about the very best of the lineup. So we have Glendale, Montreal, and Monster Truck Throwdown in Benson. So we'll start off with one. A reminder for each lineup. We'll go through that, and then we'll talk about our predictions. For Glendale, the lineup features Brutus with Chris Kohler, El Toro Loco and Mana Castro, Weston Anderson and Gravedigger, Corey Rummel Megalodon, Miles Mount Dalmatian, Jamie Sullivan, Overboard Jamie Garner, Ramunition Kurt Kramer, Shaker Ryan Disharoon, Caleb Blood, Soldier Fortune, Ryan Anderson, Son of a Digger, Thunder Roris, Colt Stevens, and Wildside Zach Garner. I'm gonna cook with these predictions. I'm gonna have some really interesting predictions here. Racing, I am gonna hand it to Ryan Anderson. Skills, I am going to hand it to. We'll throw a wild card out there. I'm gonna hand it to Zach Garner. I know I'm cooking, trust me. That or Weston Anderson, but I'm gonna put my money on Zach Garner. And for freestyle, Colt Stevens in Thunder Roars. Overall, Ryan, sure. I think that this is going to be a very interesting weekend. It is the first stadium show we've had since New Orleans. And from something that we will mention in a fan question that one of you guys left, I think this weekend is really going to be interesting, especially for the new season of Monster Jam in 2024. So we'll hand it over to you guys. Ewan, we'll start off with you this time. Your predictions for Glendale.
Well, yeah, Glendale's gonna be a good show. I mean, I get to see how Weston does versus Ryan for the first time, I think, in stadiums. I don't know, probably, but yeah, I think I see Kurt Kramer sweeping the show. That's my prediction.
Based.
Overall, yeah.
Based. All right, Reagan, we'll go over to you. Your predictions for Glendale.
This is quite the lineup. We haven't really seen a combo like this in a while. I'm just staring at the lineup, seeing this is quite the mix of drivers. You got Armando Castro. He's more on arenas and stuff, so he'd be probably more apt to the skills competition. Weston in the stadium. He made his stadium debut outside of World Finals in Glendale last year, and he did pretty dang good. And he's driving Gravedigger this time, and I'm pretty sure it's Adams because that was the same truck that was in Hidalgo a couple weeks ago. So that's something you got to mention. Ryan Anderson making his return for the first time in 2-3 months ish. Those are probably the people to look out for, really to keep your eyes on. I would say, basic prediction. You can never go wrong with Ryan Anderson, but I'm just gonna say Weston Anderson gets the overall this show.
Interesting. And Wayne, we'll finish off with you. Your predictions for Glendale.
I'm looking forward to this one. I won't be there, but I'm going to watch the full shows. Did you say Corey Rummel's in this lineup? I forgot.
Yes, Corey is in Meg.
Well, I got Corey Rummel for racing, Ryan Anderson for skills, freestyle, either Weston or Ryan, and overall, Corey Rummel.
Ooh.
And don't forget our Lord and Savior, Kurt Kramer, taking the honorary overall event champ.
He will be the overall event champ in our hearts. I did also want to say as well that, going off of your point, Wayne, Corey Rummel did actually win freestyle and the overall last time we were here in Glendale back in, I think it was March or it was April or one of those days. So that'll be interesting. But also as well, I think me, Ewan, and Reagan were talking about this a little bit before the podcast, but Jamie Sullivan has been really impressive, especially since August. So I think she could do something pretty fantastic here. I guess we'll see what happens and, what comes out of this. So I'm really excited to see what she can do. We'll move on to our next lineup. This is one that I think most are especially excited for. I know Wayne is going there, and I know one of my good friends, Dylan Pereira, shout out to you, will be at this show and is really looking forward to it. We have the Monster Spectacular in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Lineup is All-Star, as I said last time. It will feature Black Stallion, Mike Vardas, Bounty Hunter, Jimmy Creedon, Higher Education, Chris DeHoyes, Loud and Dirty, Perry Como, Overkill Evolution, Mikey Vardas II, Psychopath, Pat Paquette, Rat Nasty, Ryan Como, Red Baron, Mike Brister, Scarlet Bandit, Dawn Creedon, Shark Bite, Rob Poutre, Temperature Rising, Jesse Como, Extreme Jim, Jim Pigeon, War Wizard, RJ Turner, and to be announced truck with Stephen Thompson. Off the top of my head, I'm gonna say here, racing. I'm gonna cook with these again. Racing, I'm gonna give it to I almost said Jim Collar, not Jim Collar. Jimmy Creighton in Bounty Hunter. Two wheel, I'm gonna give it to Overkill Evolution and Freestyle. Quite possibly my favorite truck in this lineup. A little biased because Team Meg rides up. Where's Meg? There it is. Team Meg
Meg.
rise up. I'm gonna give it to Shark Bite with Rob Poutre. I love that truck. It's so nice. So we'll hand it over to you guys. Wayne, we'll start off with you. You are going to this show. I figured it'd make sense for you to cast your predictions for Montreal.
Yeah, I'm seeing my buddy the Dahlgrens and gonna see a killer
Yeah.
show. This is on the bucket list, and I'll make sure to meet up with your buddy because I remember I used to talk to him on rigs. But racing competition, I mean, you got a lot of good talent here. Off the top of my head, there's at least 2 to 4 drivers I see winning it. But I'm gonna go with either Mikey Vauders Jr. or Jimmy Creighton. So I'm gonna take Jimmy Creighton like you. If they have the best trick or skills competition, whatever they call it, I think it's either going to be Overkill Evolution or it's going to be Shark Bite. And then for freestyle, I got Mr. Mikey Vauders and Overkill Evolution.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a killer show, and I've never experienced anything like this. This is the biggest independent show I've ever gone to, floor-wise, and different trucks I've never seen wise. So I'm so excited, and it's going to be a great time, hopefully.
I mean, the venue itself has so much history. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, Wayne, but this was back when Monster Jam used to do Montreal. This was the exact English. That was the exact same venue that they went to. They've been hosting shows here for a very long time. And they've been doing a lot of these monster spectacular events here, so they always put on a show. I'm looking forward to it. Ewan, we'll go over to you next. Your predictions for Montreal.
My predictions, I think I'll predict the truck that Steven Thompson's going to drive. I think it's going to be a returning Weapon 1, as they always have a Weapon 1 at these shows, I believe. So I think Weapon 1's going to return as the body for Steven Thompson. I think we're going to see... I think I'm going to say Jimmy Crane's going to win racing. And if they host skills, it's going to be Mikey Vauders taking it. And I think Steven Thompson's always wild, so I'll take Steven Thompson for freestyle.
Absolutely. And Reagan, last off, your thoughts about Montreal and who you predict will do good?
I'm sad I'm not going. That's my thoughts about Montreal, because it looks like one of the coolest independent shows like ever. Yeah, it's such a big lineup, always some heavy hitters there, and Canadian trucks. I mean, I want to see those Canadian trucks. Looking at the lineup now. Oh, this is tough. Racing, I think that could easily go to a Jimmy Creighton or a Mikey Vauders. Probably all the competitions are going to be between those two, I would say. You cannot ever count out Steven Thompson or Rob Poutre, though. I saw him once, Rob Poutre, in San Bernardino, and I hadn't really seen much clips. There's not too much footage of the Creighton shows out there, so I kind of went in blind. And Rob Poutre is like Monster Jam level. I just saw from that one show, if you put him in, if you put him in an arena tour, I think he'd be
incredible.
Right. Mm-hmm. So definitely do not count him out. If there's a skills competition, I'd probably say he'd be my pick to win that over guys like Mikey or Jimmy or things like that. So I don't know. They don't have overall, do they? It's more just
probably
no,
not.
I don't think so.
That's so much harder to make a prediction then. But freestyle, end off on freestyle. You can never go wrong with Mikey Vauders. He's really good behind the wheel.
Absolutely. And I don't know if they do professional judges. Wayne, I'll go over to you in just a sec. I don't know if they do professional judges, but I think that if they don't, I think Sharkbite is a real menace because they really haven't had too many. I'll stress too many. They have had 3D bodies there, obviously. I could make a list, but I'm going to choose not to. But in terms of a shark truck, I think that Sharkbite really will play into that because, it's a shark, it's a 3D body, it's very crazy and all that. If they have fan judging, I think Rob Poutre will be an even bigger threat to these other drivers because, most of these trucks here, they're standard looking trucks, and I think Sharkbite really stands out. Wayne, I think you were going to say something. I'll hand it over to you.
One disappointing thing about Montreal,
I know.
Bucking Bronco.
That's why I didn't
no.
go. That's literally why I did not go, dude. Like, I would have skipped Glendale if Bucking Bronco was there. I've seen it in person once. It was at World Finals on display like over 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But it is a dream of mine to see that thing drive. I don't care. That's my favorite looking truck of all time. I even got the toy. It's somewhere up here. You know, like you can't go wrong with it, man. Bucking Bronco, easily the funniest looking truck of all time.
Dude,
Coolest looking truck of all time.
Kevin Lobson gonna get some epic air in Montreal if he did. If people get that reference, you get that reference.
Best trick for him was coming out and literally launching the truck. I mean, absolutely huge air.
All right, we'll go over to Monster Truck Throwdown in Benson, North Carolina. One of, I would say, the premier stops for Monster Truck Throwdown, other than their huge show that they do at Soaring Eagle. I forget where that is, Mount Pleasant or wherever the location of the place is. The lineup will feature Avenger Jim Collar, Axtro Foley, Bad Company John Gordon, Crustacean Greg, that was English, Greg Winchenbach. I'm so bad at pronouncing things. Excalibur, Chucky Porkin, Kraken, Nick Puglirullo, Lumberjack, Zach Winchenbach, Virginia Giant, Cliff Val. We have a what is going on with my voice today? Excuse me. We have a fantastic lineup here in Benson. Jim Collar's team, Bad Company, Excalibur, and I think Excalibur's definitely going to take some wins. Chucky Porkin certainly going to be a threat in the best trick and probably even freestyle. Racing, I'll put down to Bad Company, and I'll leave my predictions as that. I think Chucky is going to be absolutely fantastic, and I'm really excited for this lineup. It is easily one of the strongest lineups that Throwdown has had this year by far. In my opinion, the only thing they're missing is Dirt Crew and and Tim Jones and Tailgater, of course. So, other than those three, which I believe all of those trucks, I know that Blockhead and the Dirt Crew team are at, I think, Full Throttle Monster Trucks this weekend. I don't know about Tailgater. I think he's somewhere else.
He's at I know he's running Twisted Addiction Body this weekend, I think.
Yeah, I think Trent Montgomery's driving, right?
Trent
From what I
Montgomery's
saw.
Who let him cook?
Let him cook. Well, we'll hand it over to you guys. Reagan, we'll start off with you. Who are your predictions for this Throwdown event?
Pretty good lineup. Pretty solid. Again, another show I wish I could hit. Jim Collar is always a hard hit on the independent scene, of course, as we all know. You know what? I'm saying Greg Winchenbach's going to take the freestyle win. Crustacean, he's like really good behind the wheel. That's another guy that I hadn't seen compete or I hadn't filmed yet. Another truck I really want to cross off the list of seen. You never go wrong with Nick Pagliarula at an independent show either. He's always going to kill no matter where he's at. I'd say, Chucky Porkin too. Dang. Yeah, he only had a couple weekends under his belt, and he'd been doing pretty good behind Excalibur. So, I don't know. So hard. Let's say racing. John Gordon or Nick Pagliarula wouldn't be a bad pick. And freestyle, it could actually be any one of these guys. It's a pretty good lineup. I'm sticking with Greg.
Absolutely. Wayne, we'll go over to you next. Your predictions for Benson.
Well, I'm a little bit of a nut, so I'm literally, as we're talking about this, I'm thinking maybe I could go there Friday and then fly up to Montreal Saturday.
Oh, God.
I've never seen Greg.
You need help.
I've never seen Greg Winchenbach drive, and that is such a killer lineup. Oh, my gosh. I might do it if there's a flight.
Are you just flexing in front of Reagan because he just said that he's never seen it, and you were just like, hey, Reagan, guess what?
That's an idea that he's gotten from me. I do that every week.
Me and Reagan have talked about how we both love Greg. We've never seen him, want to go see him. So,
go do it, man. I have commitments tomorrow.
I'll get to prediction. I'll stop bull crapping. Racing, I'm going to give it to oh, man, this is a good lineup. Greg Winchenbach Racing, baby.
Yeah.
Skills, your best trick is going to be either Kraken or Joe Foley. And
Okay.
freestyle Excalibur.
All right. I like that. It's different. It's very. I could see that definitely happening. And one thing I just wanted to say as well before I hand it over to Ewan. Really surprising that this lineup does not have reckless driving or sinister. Usually they are in
That's
this
true.
lineup. Especially since Elliot Miller promotes Monster Truck Throwdown. Those are his trucks. Very surprising, but I think they could easily have another booking to fulfill another event that they have to be at. I don't know if they are on there. I might have a look while Ewan says this thing. Wayne, did you have something to say? You put your hand up. Were you just raising? Were you like attention?
I think
Excuse me, Biz?
Elliot's just busy. He wants to go chill out for the week and like grab a
That
nice big hot
I was
dog.
gonna
And
say, give the
hang-
man a break.
he wants to hang out with his dog Stella and his buddy that drives the
Yes.
other truck and just enjoy the show. So
I mean, fair enough.
nice Elliot. He probably wants to chill.
Absolutely. Well, Ewan, we'll go over to you this time. Your thoughts and predictions for Benson.
I'd say, to be honest, I'm gonna throw the wild card out there. Virginia Giant always runs hard in racing, even if he goes a little softer in freestyling skills. I think Virginia Giant. Oh, I can't speak. Virginia Giant's gonna win racing. I think Axe and Joe Foley's gonna take skills, and I'm gonna put the man himself, Jim Cole, and Avenger, taking freestyle.
Wow, we've really cooked with these predictions for this show. We had a lot of differences, which I like. All right, we have our final segment tonight, the fan questions. Another reminder: make sure to submit your fan questions to be answered on the community tab, and eventually, when I get around to it, my other social medias to be answered on the podcast by my brilliant guests. Remember that we're gonna make it based around the topics and themes that we are talking about each week. So again, make sure to put your predictions, put your fan questions in the community post that we write, and wherever else we post, we'll make an announcement about that. So, our first question, once again from Nitro Studios, he says, what are your thoughts on Joe Sylvester retiring? What do you think this means for the future of Bad Habit? So, I will put this up on screen, but as of today, as of recording this, Joe Sylvester actually put out a statement regarding his retirement and obviously explaining as to why all of a sudden he just decided to leave. He, from memory, he put it down to the fact that he wants to focus on running the tour. He thinks he's achieved everything he has to in monster trucks. He doesn't think that there's anything else for him to achieve. He wants to I think he said he wants to focus on, I guess, another type of racing where he can fund himself and not worry about whether or not he's going to be out of pocket next weekend or the weekend after or something like that. So for me, it was kind of everything that we had been saying. It was down to family and him achieving everything. In terms of the other bit of your question, Nitro, that you said, what happens with Bad Habit? I think he could very easily sell that truck to another owner, and it'll be interesting to see, well, first off, if it goes to someone else, and if that is true, who it will go to. I couldn't even begin to think who that truck could go to. He even might just keep it himself, to be honest. I could see him just, I guess, having it and maintaining it, and who knows, maybe at the Outlaw Drags, next year, he could just come out and be like, oh, surprise, I'm going to do a exhibition freestyle because I can, or something like that. I don't know. I'm interested to see what Joe does in his future. And I know Wayne and Reagan, you guys weren't, because I did a news video earlier in the week, and I'm interested to know your thoughts about him retiring and obviously Nitro's question. So we'll start off with one of you, Wayne. Again, your thoughts about Joe's retirement and Nitro Studios question.
Well, I'm a little shocked that he's announcing the retirement right now. I imagine maybe, at the end of the year or the next year that he would, because I just went to the four-wheel jamboree and he had so many great ideas and aspirations about, bringing the outlaw drags there, making it bigger and better. So it's a little sad to see him go. However, I'm very happy that he's going to chase the hobby that he wants to go for. You know, it's really expensive with these monster trucks. And he really enjoys, you know, all types of motorsports and even being on his bike. If you haven't seen him do that type of
Yes.
racing and stuff, he loves that. So maybe we'll see him go into that. Maybe we'll see him go into sprint car racing or something. I'm not sure what he's going for, but I am happy for him that he gets to announce it early on. But as a fan, I'm a little sad that he's going. And I think we'll see that truck in a very familiar monster truck series in the near future. We'll see what happens next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was just thinking about this. Um, no, I wasn't. I lost what I was going. Oh, yeah, sorry, I do remember. I that was weird. I was just thinking about this as well because in 2014, Bad Habit was part of Too Extreme Racing, and Too Extreme was campaigning that name. And I know afterwards he stopped running for a while, and obviously, my hair is messed up. Bad Habit came back, I think 2019 or something like that. And I think in between that time, or maybe before he sold it, I believe he was doing some other type of racing, maybe some like off-road racing. You know the things that Brandon Arthur does? I forget what they're called, like the off-road trucks or something. I believe he was doing that. I'll put that up on screen.
I think Reagan knows
So
that stuff.
A little
yeah.
bit, yeah.
I think that's what he was doing, so he could go down that route as well. And yeah, well, Reagan, we'll go over to you next. Your thoughts about Joe's retirement and what it means for the future of Bad Habit.
I was shocked. I mean, that came out of nowhere. Like, like we said, Wayne was just at the 4-Wheel Jamboree, and they ended off in Canfield last weekend, and then he announced his retirement there. It's like, I had no idea. I thought that tour was going stronger than ever, and it sounds like it is. So maybe that's why he wants to take the back seat. He wants to focus more on that and building like a company, a promotion, which can't argue with that. Wherever the
Yeah.
money lies is where you should lie. So I can argue with that. I am sad to see him go because I haven't seen him drive like very much at all. I think the last time I saw him was like around 2-3 years ago, something like that. And I was planning to see him drive a lot more. I haven't even seen that Jeep body run yet. So looks like, at least for now, that is not going to happen. But again, it's the monster truck world. And whenever someone says that they're going to retire, they never do.
Right.
Just like wrestling or whatever. So, just because he says he's stepping away, it might be for a month. It might be 5 months. It might be, 2 years. It could be 5 years. But I don't think he's driven for the last time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't even see him selling that truck either. Because when you think about it, like each monster truck chassis, give or take, lasts between 5-8 years, something like that. And that's a newer build.
Yeah.
So for him to just get up and sell that, I don't see it happening, at least very soon.
Yeah.
So I will say I don't think we've seen Joe drive for the last time.
Interesting. I think as well the telltale of that will be if he sells his truck and if he gets rid of it. I think that is a definite factor of that he is done and he means it. If he keeps it, maybe then Reagan's thinking is correct. But even true, I mean, you never know. He may just get rid of it and then be like next back, like, oh, I don't know, I'm joining Hot Wheels Monster Truck Live or something like that. I don't know. Ewan, we'll end off with you for a Nitro's question. Your thoughts about Joe's retirement and what it means for the future of Bad Habit.
To be honest, I've heard a lot of things. It was very surprising, but I've also heard, to counterpoint some of you guys, that Joe already sold it. It's already in the process of being sold.
Really?
To who knows? I think it's probably gonna be Triple B because they really work close together with the Outlaw Drags the last couple of years, and I could see him just like come in for because they do all their shows. He could just hop in real quick for one of their shows, then has to run in it. So yeah,
do you know what
we shall see.
Sorry to cut you off. I absolutely. Do you know what? I think that might be like one of the best predictions. Yeah, I completely forgot because they have Team Throttle Monster has an absurd amount of chassis. Triple B has an absurd amount of chassis and trucks. So knowing James, we're gonna get 2030 and there's like 30 Triple B trucks or something like that. We have our next question here. We talked about this a little bit. It's from Angel Chaos to the Max. He says, how do you guys feel about Jamie Sullivan making her stadium debut this weekend? I'm going to keep it short and simple. I already talked about it. I'm excited. She's been doing well. She has really stepped up her game since I believe Savannah or whenever she started doing these other shows this year. She's been great. I think she's going to do fantastic. She may get overshadowed by, drivers like Colt, Weston, Ryan, Zach, whoever, Kurt, um, in Glendale, but I think she really has a chance to be great this weekend and do well. And who knows, it could lead to another exciting prospect in the future where maybe she gets drafted to stadiums. One, obviously not next year, or maybe because as Reagan said, Monster Trucks never say never. We'll hand it over to you guys. Ewan, we'll start off with you this time. Your thoughts about Jamie making her debut this weekend?
Stadium debuts, they tend to not go well for most people. So I think she'll be, she's gonna do good, but she's not gonna really. I don't think she's gonna win anything, but she's gonna be mid pack, probably the whole show, and she'll probably squeak on by.
Absolutely. Reagan, we'll go over to you this time. Your thoughts about Jamie making a stadium debut?
I will say, I think I saw her drive like one weekend before World Finals, like first 6 months of the year. I saw her drive once, and it was like typical rookie stuff, like not everyone's going to be the best driver or the greatest driver in their first season, of course. So when they put her on the stadium lineups, though, or excuse me, I meant to say summer arena lineups, like starting around July, August, whatever. I'd seen quite a bit more of her, or not every weekend, but maybe another 5 or 6 weekends I've seen her drive since. And she'd a completely different driver just from 6 months ago, the first time I saw her. I would even go as far to say she is one of the most entertaining female drivers to watch, like when I'm at a show these days.
Yeah.
She's been trying a lot of new things. Last time I saw her was Duluth, Georgia, a couple weeks ago. And her freestyle was cut a little short, but it was like the momentum was insane. And like for an arena for a first year competitor, it was incredible. So I think if she can translate that over to the stadium shows, that I think she's got the next 3 coming up right in the US.
Yes.
Then she brings some success.
All right, and Wayne, will end off with you. Your thoughts about Jamie making her stadium debut?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think she's definitely advanced as a driver this year. I saw her pretty early on at Allentown early in the year before they did the later shows. And for example, she was just popping stoppies and stuff and bouncing it and trying to master it. It was very hard for her. Now I've seen her probably a month or two, same place, and she's doing amazing. She's able to hold a moonwalk and ride it up the pod a little bit even. And like Reagan said, her momentum's really good. So she's picking up as a driver and she's starting to get down these skills that you have to have, especially in arenas. So moving to a big stadium will probably be a big move for her and something to get used to, especially with how you pace yourself, where the arenas are super fast, you're turning immediately. Stadiums, you have a few seconds before you make a turn and you're sort of planning it out in your head, sort of not. So I think she'll do good. Obviously, she'll get overshadowed by a lot of drivers, but we're going to see a good debut for her.
Absolutely, and I think her debut will be as well dependent on, because, it'll be a new challenge for a specific reason that I'm about to mention. So, I was going to bring this up when I mentioned Glendale and predictions, but because of the recent developments and this fan question, I figured it would be best to combine them both. So, Jack1999N asked, are any of y'all predicting a new track layout this weekend? This is the time of year they usually test new ideas. And unfortunately, last year, we weren't really greeted to that except for Orlando. But judging by the few photos that we have seen, that is the case. It looks to be that we are getting a brand new track. And I have to say, what are they cooking? I don't know what is happening. It looks so kind of cool, kind of strange. I'm going to predict that it's like a new variation of paperclip. Judging by the photos, they looks like they have like some sort of like bowl. So like they have like the pod that they have in the middle, but it's like, I don't know, dug out or something like that. At the end of the day, we will see by the end of the weekend. We'll have to bring up in the podcast next next week whenever we do that. I'm really looking forward to whatever they cook with this track. It looks really, really nice. I'm really interested to see it, and I think it's going to trip up some drivers. So I pressed the wrong button. Oh, there we go. We'll hand it over to Reagan this time. You can start us off. Your thoughts about this potential new track that we are going to get in Glendale?
I saw the picture earlier today. It looks like some people are posting, like, they're building the track right now as we speak, and
Yep.
it looks pretty cool. I really hadn't been too excited about the paperclip. Like, when it first came out, it was cool,
Yeah.
but I think it ran its course a little while ago.
I agree.
It seems to be the same style of racing, right? Like, it's got the berms on the end and like the pod in the middle, but
It looks like it.
it doesn't have like the tabletop. That's an old term, right? Tabletop. Remember hearing that all the time? It doesn't
Yeah.
have that part on the pod, so it's like it's got all the outer edges, right? Like the log stack,
Ooh.
the mini flip,
Maybe.
but on the inside, it's like dug to the bottom. So
That's
it
cool.
looks interesting because the whole point of paperclip is you're transferring onto like the top. But
Yeah.
now with this track style, it looks like you're transferring into like all the individual jumps, which that seems like a complete truck killer, which means it's going to be a great show. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love it. I'm down. There's also like, it looks like the backflip ramps like dug into one of the outside jumps. It's like insane.
yeah.
Looks like really creative. So I can't wait to see it.
It kind of looks a little bit, and shout out to my boy Travis Palm. He did a custom track on rigs, and he had one where it was paperclip, but the red zone, it was like this like comically big step up, and it had two backflip containers in the side of the step up. So that kind of looks like what they're doing here, but I guess we'll see. Wayne, we'll hand it over to you this time. Your thoughts about this potential new track in Glendale?
Sounds good to me. I haven't seen the track, but what you guys are talking about is really cool. That's one reason why I'm going to be sad that I'm missing it. Glendale's always a cool one, especially these later shows, as we all know. Like you said, they try new things, and this track sounds cool. Hollowed out middle without the tabletop, that's going to be really interesting. If they're just jumping straight into there and they have to gas it out, or if they're going to be a little easy and, throttle it
Yeah.
out like 20%. We'll have to see what happens. I'm excited for that. Sounds good.
I think as well, and going off of Reagan's point as well, the point of paperclip, in terms of freestyle, was it points you towards the middle. Every sort of ramp, puts, except for the backflip ramp, of course, but every ramp for the actual paperclip style itself points you towards the middle. You hit the angled jumps on the side, it points you to the middle, all of that. So now they, it might be what Reagan said, how they're going to try and emphasize new combos where drivers are going to be landing in this sort of bowl, as we'll call it. And then I guess the idea is that they land in it and then just like full throttle out of it and get like some crazy combo. And I don't know, I think that if that is what they're doing, assuming Ryan or Weston or whoever has good momentum and the truck doesn't break, they are going to really make this track one to remember. So Ewan, we'll go over to you. Your thoughts about this potential new track in Glendale?
It's gonna be a good time in Glendale. They always test out new tracks at the end of the year, and they like end of the year stadium tour that they do a little bit, and hopefully it's a good track, and hopefully I get it for Arlington, but probably not because Arlington is small, and I'm going to be sad, and I'm gonna get paperclip
Damn.
again. So anyway, it's just gonna be a good show.
Absolutely. Our final question here is from boy_cheddar1755. He says, what current driver do you think is sure to be in the Hall of Fame when they retire? So this was something interesting that I was thinking about as well. It's really weird because when I was thinking about the Master Jam Hall of Fame, do you remember when they did that? It hasn't been a thing since. It looked to be that they were doing based on drivers or people who were retired, or in the case of Mike Wales, passed away and no longer with us. Whereas when I look at the International Monster Truck Hall of Fame, that is definitely not the case, because they were inducting people that were, they were inducting people that were still competing. When Dennis got inducted, which I believe was back in 2010 or something like that, he was still competing. Pablo and Charlie got inducted a few years later, and Pablo has since retired. I believe that was before Pablo retired, and Charlie, as you know, is still competing. So I think for the International Hall of Fame itself, I think that for whoever gets inducted, I think that, and I was saying this as well on my Discord server, that they're going to they pick drivers based on their contributions. Some casual fans may not know who some of these people are. They're really like, I won't lie, and I don't know if this makes me sound like a goose, but I wasn't really aware of William Towns and his contributions. But I think the Hall of Fame, what it does for other fans who may not know is I guess it promotes them. It tells you their story. And if you were like someone like me who was doing a video and was talking about this, you find out about their history. You find out about their contributions. So for drivers like, say, we'll take this year's people, Guy Wood, right? Everyone, or I assume most people, know who Guy Wood is. So, you're not necessarily promoting Guy Wood. But for someone like Frank Scattini or William Towns, in my case, having them inducted as well, if you are a true Monster Truck fan who wants to learn more about the business and learn where it came from and learn the roots, they are promoting those names. So I think that they are going, and obviously they're still inducting people from, I would say, like the 90s and all of that. I think that when we get to Tom Meents, it will be down the road. At the end of the day, there's so many people from the 80s and 90s. William Towns, as I keep going back to, just because he's the newest name that was inducted, they are, as I said, promoting these people and letting new and, I guess, older fans, who even some may not know about their story, and make fans be aware of these drivers or these builders or whoever has inducted their contributions to the sport. So, with that being said, I think next year's thing, we could get some new people. Well, obviously we're gonna get new people, but I honestly, the spectrum of the industry is so big that it's so hard to pick from. I believe Scott Douglas, and maybe Paul Schaefer was amongst because they had a list of who could get inducted, but they didn't pick from that. So I think Scott Douglas or Paul Schaefer could be a good pick for next year's inductees. I would say, judging off of the list that I remember, Scott or Paul, but it could be anyone. So I'll hand it over to you guys. Ewan, we'll start off with you this time. I'm gonna remember the question. Which current driver, I guess in this case, industry personality could be inducted into next year's Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and do, I guess, both Hall of Fames if Monster Jam does it. I think
It's probably dead.
it probably is, but we're gonna do it anyway. But well, obviously, 2024, Tom's gonna be driving, so I don't think he's gonna be inducted then for the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. I think they're gonna induct Pablo, probably,
Yep.
and probably other Gravedigger driver. I don't know, for the International Hall of Fame. They have to get Scott Douglas in there. He's the voice of monster trucks. He's the voice of our childhoods, and
Yep.
they also they do it later in the year, right? The International.
Yes.
Usually.
Yes, correct.
So Tom's probably be retired by then. So I think Tom, Scott, and somebody else is going to go in the International Hall of Fame. Yeah.
Absolutely. Reagan, we'll go over to you this time. Who do you think will be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and thoughts on everything else?
Well, like Ewan said, the International Hall of Fame and the Monster Jam Hall of Fame are two different things. Depends on which one you're talking about. I would say if Tom's show is indeed, or his last show is going to be the World Finals, it would make sense if they brought the Hall of Fame back and had him retired the day after his last show, or not retired, had him inducted the day before, or you know what I'm saying, right? I'm sick,
Yes.
guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, everyone.
Yes.
The
Yes.
day after the World Finals, induct Tom. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
To Monster Jam, and I could
Yep.
definitely, obviously, Tom's going to go in the international one day, whenever that
Yeah.
is. But like you're saying, based on like contributions to the sport for like the International Monster Truck Hall of Fame, I could definitely see someone like Jimmy Cretin going in very soon.
Yeah.
It's not based on people being retired, right? It's just kind of
Well, yeah, no. So I
Okay.
thought
Well, yeah.
originally looking at it was based on people that had since retired. But as I had said earlier in my examples, Charlie Porkin has been inducted. He's still competing. Dennis was inducted in the first bit. So yeah. Hopefully
Okay,
that
yeah.
answers your
So
question.
throw someone like Jimmy Cretin in there. I think he's definitely contributed his whole life to monster trucks. So he's a guy
Yep.
that I think would deserve to be in it. Tom Mentz, of course, as well. I don't really know. I mean, I don't know like everyone who's already inducted. So I could say a bunch of names that are probably already in it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with those two for now.
Absolutely. I was just thinking of another one too. Jim Cole would be a good
Oh,
one
yeah.
because he started in the 90s and he has had many contributions to the sport in my opinion, and I think many would agree with me. Wayne, we'll go over to you. Your thoughts about everything that we've talked about regarding this question and who you think will be inducted.
Yeah, I think that's a good point you bring up. Jim Kohler has a lot of contributions to the sport, and I think he's definitely one that will be put in there soon. I don't know if Hartsock has been inducted already, but
I
he
don't
has
think he
made
has.
good. He has what?
I said I don't think he has been inducted yet.
Okay, well, I think he would be a good one to induct. He made a bunch of contributions. He was in a bunch of World Finals. He almost won one World Finals. Do you remember World Finals racing?
Oh
And
yes.
he's been a big name in the sport, the 2000s into the 2010s. And I think not only would it be honorable, but it'd be just a great joy to see him be conducted into the Hall of Fame. Another one that Ewan said before, I forgot. Which ones were you saying before, Ewan?
I said Scott Douglas and somebody else.
You said
Yeah, the
Tom
second
Mentz,
one.
Yeah, Tom
maybe.
Mentz.
The second one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tom
Tom Mentz. I think, like Reagan said, Tom Mentz could definitely get inducted. Even though he would be driving at that time, there's no
Yeah.
problem with that. It's the perfect time to do it. It's his last final season, full time, and it's the World Finals. So I see it happening.
I think for me, if it doesn't happen in 2024, it should 100. I don't know what their process is of picking the inductees. Again, as I said, I know that they have a huge, giant list of people that they pick through, and then they only pick 3 or 4. I think in the last couple of years, it's been 3. Again, I don't know what their list is of sorting through the names and picking the final 3. I'm gonna maybe assume that maybe it's down to who's able to receive the award, or if the people want to receive the induction, because I would assume that there's a lot of bit of permission with that and scheduling and all of that to make it happen. That I think probably goes into that as well. But I think definitely next year, Tom Mentz, if he doesn't get inducted, or at the very least in 2025, I think that would be a missed opportunity. But I think it's definitely going to happen. I think Tom Mentz is going to get inducted at some point. Has to. And I'm just really looking forward to it. The Hall of Fame, I thought Master Jam's one was interesting. And the fact that they haven't done anything within the last 2 or 3 years, to me, kind of says that it's dead. But whether or not they bring it back is another thing. But I'm really excited to see what it is that happens with the Hall of Fame next year. Before we end off, I wanted to say some stuff. first off, thank you all so much for watching and checking out the podcast and all my videos. Really appreciate it. I've got some really exciting stuff coming, including a special announcement on my Instagram. It's going to be, well, I guess it'll be all over my social media. It'll be, I don't know what day I have it scheduled for. I think maybe Monday my time, which would be Sunday for everyone else. I will say, I'll give you a hint, it's Australia related. So make sure to get ready for that, because that's going to be a big announcement. Obviously, as well, Monster Jam in Australia is coming back. I'm really looking forward to it. I believe I'm going to be joined by two people below me on the screen, Wayne and Reagan. I'm really looking forward to the start of the tour and posting all of that great content. And there will be another podcast just before I leave for Melbourne. So once again, thank you everyone so much for watching, and we'll see you with another exciting episode of the Bonus Time MonsterTalk podcast. Good night, everybody.